You got a pop socket over there that looks pretty nice.
Pop socket. So we talked about pop sockets and my love of pop sockets / insecurity from a pop socket.
Yes.
And a lady in our church came up to us and gave us new LC branded Asterisk pop sockets.
It's super nice.
So I ripped my other one off and now I'm repping.
Hey, I love it. It's
And
our
so-
first Tug of More gift.
Our first Tugmore gift. So
That's
if you
pretty
are
fun.
a strong masculine man, do not be afraid to put the pop socket on your phone because it's a blessing from the Lord.
It's a blessing. You're right.
It's good. Every morning, my alarm goes off, and I like blindly reach over to my nightstand, and my pop socket's already up, and I so easily grab my phone and turn my alarm off, and then I jump out of bed and I attack the day.
Hey, I've not
Because
really...
that's what you have to do.
I've not really used pop sockets much in the history of life, but I'm going to try it.
You've got
because-
yours mounted very low.
Because my hand is much smaller than your hand.
Yeah, well, this is the advice I gave you.
No, it was your...
I
I
said-
said, what do I do?
Yeah, you got to put it a little lower so your hand can be a little...
So when I'm taking a picture or when I'm reading something, yeah, it's perfect. I'm excited to try it.
Pop socket.
Hey,
Hey,
it's all
welcome.
a journey.
Welcome to Tug of More,
That's right.
where we're in a constant conversation between
Yep.
two friends that work together in ministry about how to pursue the more that God has for us.
Yep.
And it's a tug.
It's a fight.
It's
It's
a
a tension.
fight to get out of the comfortability of where we are and into what's next.
That's right.
It's always hard to get to the next level.
Yeah, but it's
That's the
worth
fight.
it. The fight is worth it. The struggle is worth it. And so our goal here is to just be vulnerable
Yeah.
and to share kind of what we've learned, mostly through what we've done wrong, but also some things we've done right.
Yeah.
And how God's continuing to teach us. So
Yeah,
last
vulnerability
time,
was great. That's
Yeah.
a couple episodes ago.
Yeah.
If you haven't listened to vulnerability, check it out.
No,
if you
it's
haven't
true.
subscribed or
Liked and
liked or
commented and
followed
shared.
or things, you know what I do is I get on YouTube and I look at every comment and I reply to every single one.
you're so nice.
Now, I don't know how long I'm going to be able to do that, but I want to be able to do it as long as forever.
As long as forever.
I want to do it as long as
These
forever.
are good goals.
Yeah.
You never make extreme goals
No,
ever in your
never.
life.
Why? Hey, shoot for the moon
It's true.
and then
No,
land there and build a
land-
colony. Forget land among the stars. That's garbage.
You don't want to be a
No,
star.
build a house on the moon. Let's go.
Okay.
Elon Musk up in this mug.
What about Mars?
It's red.
It's-
The devil might live there.
Red is the best color. It's Living Church's color now.
Well, it's also Satan's color.
Okay. So
What are we talking about today?
Last time we were sharing about emotional health. Like we shared the journey that you and I both went on in life where we recognized some
man.
areas where we were both kind of a wreck because of some stuff that was happening. And it came out in areas where it wasn't really the issue.
Right.
Because we were dealing with some other things emotionally, but
Yeah.
we weren't dealing with them.
Right.
And so we had
It was
this-
coming out here, but there was really a deeper issue here.
Yeah.
And emotional health is huge. You know,
Huge.
we have a thing that we do with our staff team called Harbor Weekend.
Yeah.
It's very different than a staff retreat. It's more emotional health focused.
Right.
And we had one and we taught a lesson about how everything in life is connected.
Everything.
And so what we can try to do is we try to advance our ministry, but our ministry really is connected, chained
Yep.
to our emotional health.
Yep.
And our emotional health is tied to our relationships,
Right.
to our marriage. And so like at that staff retreat, I don't have a whiteboard or I would draw it, but like I drew 3 drones. It's kind of weird. 3 drones. And then I wrote under them like a little package and that these 3 drones were connected to each
Yeah.
other. And like the one can only go as high as the slack in the chain
Right.
until the other one starts to take off. And so like you might be highly gifted in your business. You might be the best home builder. You might be the best teacher. You might be the best pastor, communicator. But if your emotional health is a wreck, you're only going to advance so high. Or if your home life, if your marriage is falling apart, it's all going to be connected.
Yeah, it's all weighted by each other, and you can only go as high as the lowest one, really.
Exactly.
And so we have to work intentionally and consistently
Yeah.
to dig that junk out.
And to lift it up, like to look at where do you
right.
need to work on. I feel like I talk to a lot of pastors that they're always reading the new book.
Right.
They're always implementing the new strategy.
No,
they're
right.
always listening to Craig Groeschel's podcast, which is incredible. And they're getting all this new content. But I'm like, when's the last time you went to marriage counseling?
Right.
Like, when's the last time you
No,
talked to a
right.
counselor and cried about what happened to you when you were 12?
Right.
Because if you're not doing those things, the new systems and the new strategies, man, they're shackled by your emotional health.
Because it's all an onion. It's all layered upon layered upon layered.
It is.
I mean, there's times right now still in counseling. I've been in counseling a long time. I go every other week, and something will hit me, and I'll realize, oh my word, that's attached to that thing that I've already dealt with years ago,
Yeah.
but it's still there because it's all a layer.
Right. The reason I see this person the way I do is attached to like 8 other people in my past.
Right.
And so I can't work it out here because I haven't dealt with it back there.
That one phrase is a trigger for me
Yep.
because somebody else used to say it in a way that demeaned me or hurt me
Yeah.
or abused me. And now I hear this and I'm back
Yeah.
in that moment where
Yeah.
I was hurt years before. And so we have to work intentionally
Yeah.
to figure it out.
Which is hard.
It's super
because
hard and painful.
Here's what we want to do. Everybody has been through some form of trauma.
Yeah.
Everybody has walked through some things that are hard.
Right.
When we hear the word trauma, for me, when I heard the word trauma, I was like, I haven't been through any trauma. My wife has been through trauma.
Right.
She was abandoned and abused
Right.
and homeless. And all these things, like you look at that and you're like, oh, that's obviously traumatic.
Right.
Me, my mom and dad love each other.
Right.
I haven't ever been through any trauma. But then like I had.
Right.
I just refused to admit that some ministry hurt,
Right.
some words that had been spoken over me,
Right.
some abandonment issues that I was dealing with, until I said, okay, this is trauma. I now admit that this thing actually affected me. Now I could start to deal with it.
So what you're saying is the first step is recognition,
Yeah,
but you're talking about recognition of yourself.
right.
It's not recognition in other people. We're really good at that.
Oh,
And as pastors, we're great at it
We-
because it's what we do.
people think that their spiritual gift is observing issues in others.
Right.
That's not a spiritual
No.
gift, man. That's just observation.
No, right. But recognizing in yourself what's going on
Yeah.
and being able to identify the hurt in your own self and the triggers, man, for me, that's been the biggest thing is recognizing, oh, that's a trigger for me. That's a huge thing.
Yeah.
It's called self-awareness.
Called self-awareness. It's a huge idea that I think sometimes we don't understand.
Yeah, but you always have a great definition of what you say it is because you've put words to it in ways. I feel like self-awareness is a buzzword right now in
Yeah.
culture. It's like a thing that everyone's trying to be, but very few people actually are.
Yeah.
And so what's your definition? You always say
Okay,
it's
so
really,
I define self-awareness as being able to understand what you're feeling and why in real time and adjust.
Okay.
So in a real situation, being able to be self-aware and see, why do I think what I think? Why do
Right.
I feel what I feel?
Right.
And becoming aware of what's coming out of me and be able to readjust.
Right. Because I think a lot of people say self-awareness and they're like, yeah, I am aggressive. That's just the way I am.
Yeah.
I'm aware that I'm aggressive, so
Yeah.
I'm self-aware.
Yeah.
No. It's beyond that. It's I'm aggressive. Why am I aggressive? Oh, because once I was mistreated, and so now I feel like I need to stand up for myself, so I get defensive. And now in this moment where I'm being defensive, ooh, take a deep breath. Don't act like that.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying self-awareness actually is,
Yeah.
right?
Actually knowing that you're feeling something.
Yeah.
So we've already done a conversation on insecurity.
Yeah.
And so self-awareness is, okay, because so-and-so's in the room,
Yep.
I now feel insecure.
Yeah.
And because I now feel insecure, I'm either going to turn up or turn off. And so because I don't want to be that way, I'm going to change myself
Yeah.
to act how I should. That's
Right.
self-awareness.
No, it's good.
But where it's hard when it comes to emotional health and talking about trauma and all the things from the past is seeing that they're even connected.
Right.
Because people aren't self-aware.
No.
What we do is we think, I already dealt with that.
Yeah.
I'm already over the fact my parents got divorced. I'm already over the fact that I was abandoned. I'm already over the fact that I was overweight. And we think that like we've already dealt with it. And so we kind of close that door, but we're not aware in real time
Right.
that the reason we're being a jerk over here is because of what happened way back there. It's an onion.
It's
It's all so connected.
Can we talk about college Truston for a second? I think that's a really good,
Okay.
like, silly example.
Yeah, it's a good one.
To help lead people into what we're talking about.
Yeah. So college Truston was wild and out
Right.
always.
All the time.
And
Crazy and fun. Like, I meet people all the time
Yeah.
that are like, oh, wait, you work with Truston? Oh, man, that dude's crazy. That's what they
or
say.
even professors and people
yeah,
still.
all kind of people.
You want me to, are we talking about the conference we
Yes,
went to?
yeah.
Okay. So we go to a conference
Right.
and we've got our staff there.
Yeah.
And I'm being me, my normal
you.
kind of fun, but kind of like I'm here to learn. I got my notebook.
Right.
And then I see two or
Some
three guys
people
that I
from-
went to college with.
Yeah.
And a literal shift happened in my life. in
Banana
this moment.
pancakes. I've never seen it before. I was like, who's this guy?
Because my boys from college are there
Yeah.
and we all turned up.
What's up?
And like we're now wrestling each other
It's bananas.
in the lobby of a church.
I was like, what is happening?
But I wasn't in that. I mean, this was years ago. In that moment,
long
I was
ago.
not self-aware
Right.
of what was happening.
And so later I was like, hey, that was fun. And you're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, dude, I've never seen you like that before.
Yeah.
And then through that kind of conversation, I'm like, oh yeah, I was acting like those guys because of that season of life.
Yeah. But that's exactly what happens.
That's what happens.
So that's a fun one, and it's okay.
Yeah, it's
if I
fine.
still see those guys today,
Right.
we're going to be wrestling and joking and saying a bunch of stupid stuff. But the problem is when that just becomes a part of our daily ritual.
Right. Because
Is
now
that now every time we see our mom,
right.
we turn into a different person.
Right.
Or every time we are in a large group of people,
Yep.
we are now unable to be who we really are because we're intimidated of the group of people.
Yeah, I think that we've talked about it before that like there's moments where your personality can cause you to turn up or to turn down.
This is huge. So, like on your barbecue grill, you have that knob, that,
Right.
Hotter or colder.
Right.
I think that all of us, when we start to feel insecure, we have that same knob.
Yeah.
Some of us, when we feel intimidated or afraid or insecure
Yeah.
or nervous or anxious, we grab that knob and we turn one of two directions.
Right.
Some people turn it all the way down and they get
They
quiet
become wallflowers.
and recluse.
Right.
Nobody knows them. They don't talk, and they call it meekness, but they're not really meek. They're afraid.
Right.
Meekness is strength. Meekness isn't weakness. It's just strength
Very
with a
cool.
little bit of sweetness.
I remember that.
But so they turn down. Other people like me,
Right.
when I get insecure,
Right.
I turn up.
Right.
When I get nervous, I go alpha male
Right.
because I want to show my dominance.
Yes.
But really, that dominance that I'm inserting is actually I'm scared.
Right.
And so when we can feel in real time, okay, I'm turning down, I'm getting scared, I'm getting quiet. No. Get self-aware and stop doing that to yourself.
Right.
Oh, I'm turning into a big, loud, crazy, wild animal. No. Don't do that. Stay who you are.
Well, it makes a huge difference, not only for you, but for the people around you when you can be aware in the moment. I talked about it before that like when I started communicating and I would meet with you
Yeah.
about my like sermon and all the things,
Yeah.
I would freak out.
Yeah.
And internally, I was freaking out. Like, okay, I want to do good. I want him to think I'm doing good. I really want him to think and know that what he taught me last time, I learned this time, and
Yeah.
and he's not having to reteach it to me. And there was a lot
Okay.
of dialogue happening in my head.
Yeah.
But what was happening on the outside was I was kind of like, and then, I was just I kind of turned down and up at the same time.
Yeah. You were talking really fast to try to show like I'm not stumbling, but
Right.
then we're real not smooth.
Yeah, real
Okay.
not confident.
So let's unpack it.
Yeah.
Why? It wasn't me.
No, it had nothing to do
Because
with
you and I are friends and work together.
But it
But
had to
it was
do
attached to,
rejection in the past.
okay,
Words of people who said, who does she think she is to
Yeah.
even try to speak God's word? Is she qualified? She is a woman.
Yeah.
All kinds of words that I had to identify I was attaching to you
yeah,
because you are the one giving me the opportunity, teaching me in the moment.
Yeah.
And in that moment, an authority over me that I think because of rejection of and pain and abandonment of people who are either over me or were supposed to love me, it sounds crazy,
Yeah.
but it was a very intense experience
so
for me.
you were in a safe place,
Super safe,
but being affected by things that had happened previously.
long ago.
This is what we're talking about.
Right.
This is how emotional health
Right.
stops us from more. Because what you could have done is you could have just stayed there and been nervous with me, and we would have stopped progressing. And then I would have been like, well, I guess she doesn't want to preach. I guess she doesn't want to keep growing.
Or you just thought, this lady's crazy.
And then we're not able to advance. But because you had enough self-awareness to, in the meeting, say, hey, I don't know why I'm acting like I'm acting. I'm sorry that I'm feeling this way. We were able to get through those things. But people just live their whole life thinking that this is just who I am.
No, I think that's what happens.
You got to get over what you walked through so you can walk into what God has for you.
Okay, that was a power statement, but it's true. Like if you don't admit to yourself first, you can't then admit it to anybody else. Because in that moment, if I couldn't say to myself, Whitney, he loves you, he's for you, he's not going to reject you. You're feeling that way because other people have. I couldn't even bring it to you first. I had to identify it to myself. And I think for a lot of us, we don't want to admit things. We don't want to admit.
No, we want to look Stone Cold Steve Austin. We want to look like we don't have any weakness.
And we have to be aware in ourselves to speak it and then to ourselves first and then speak it out to others. Because if not, we start doing a bunch of other crazy things to try to deal with it.
So the truth is, it's all connected.
No, it's all connected.
What we've been through is connected to where we are, and where we are is connected to where we're going to go. And for me, there's been 100 times that you've brought to my attention, no, Truston, wait a minute. You're feeling what you're feeling because you think that this person is the same as that person. And so you've helped me be self-aware in moments to see that it's all connected. And what we want to do is we want to manage it. I think that when we start to feel these feelings of inadequacy or overwhelmed, or we're not good enough, or trying to navigate our emotional baggage from the past, there's a couple of things that we can do. We can try to manage those feelings. We can try to mask those feelings like they aren't there, or we can try to medicate those feelings. And I know that's a giant idea to kind of hold on to. So not too long ago, we were at a conference that you and Rachel were speaking at, and a guy who I've known for years, he came up to me and he said, hey, Pastor, I have a question for you. I've been following you on social media, and it feels like you've gotten really free on social media. Like everything is just you. It's not super polished. You got stuff in your living room with your kids, then you got stuff that you're preaching. And he said, how do you do that? How did you get to this place of comfortability? And as I've kind of chewed on that question, what he was really saying was, I'm really insecure to be myself. And I see you really securely in yourself. And what he really is battling is this, like, I'm aware that I'm putting on a front, but I don't know how to stop doing it. And so, like, I think we're talking about getting to more. And I think one of the reasons that people don't get to more is because they're scared. They're just afraid. And so, like, this podcast, it's not the best. Like, we don't have the best room or the best sound or the best experience. We, like, even today, we don't all the way know the topics that we're talking about, but we're just going to push anyways. We're just going to do it. And I think that there's a point that you have to just identify the things you don't like, but don't let them stop you. There's lots that I don't like, but I can't let it stop me. I don't like that this camera shot shows my fat neck.
Well, yeah, this camera shot basically is cutting off my entire face, and you just see the bad part of my hair.
There's lots of things that I don't like about me. Lots of things I don't like about me. But am I going to let the things that I don't like about me stop me from pursuing the more that God has for me?
No, that's silly.
We can't.
No.
That's the struggle of self-awareness is like even being aware of the things that you don't like or that you wish you could have changed by now, but not waiting. Because what happens is we spend our whole life not advancing because of silly things we don't like.
No, that's really good.
We don't like our voice.
Right.
We don't like how we look. We don't like we don't have a college degree or this or that or the other thing. And so we don't try.
No.
But if we could just get self-aware and realize that those things that we don't like aren't even really that big a deal to anybody else or to God.
Right.
Moses didn't have a college degree. He's a stutterer.
Right.
Who's scared to death.
Right.
But God used him to do great things. if we could just get past our own insecurity and our own, it's why I said in a couple episodes ago that insecurity is the greatest epidemic in the church. If we could just get over it and be self-aware about like how we feel and push past it, we could accomplish anything.
No, it's good.
Living church is going to advance not because I'm great, but because I don't let my insecurities stop me.
Well, and you're not afraid to say, I don't know.
Right.
We're not afraid to say, we don't know what we're doing. We're not afraid to say, hey, we'll figure it out together instead of just acting like and putting on the facade that we've got it all figured out.
We're willing to fumble.
Right.
Like, I would rather try. I'm not a sports guy, so I mess up sports analogies.
You're fine.
But I would rather fumble the ball and trying to get a touchdown than just only play my life playing defense.
Right.
And when we're not self-aware, we're just playing defense, like trying to put up this facade.
Yeah.
Which you taught, dude, it was so good at Living Church a while ago about veneers.
Yeah.
And the facade of what we do to try to like make everybody think that we're good enough.
Yeah. No, I mean, veneers are in culture, they're like your fake teeth. And I actually have veneers on my teeth because I had bad teeth as a kid. And so it's easy to look at my face and smile and go, oh, she has perfect teeth. But what's true is there a false cover over some teeth of mine that actually had cavities and were unhealthy and had to be cleaned up. And so that's what we do though all the time is we put a cover over everything in life that either we don't like or we think other people won't like. And we don't allow ourselves to be who God's made us to be because we think the flaws are the thing that will disqualify us or keep us back from it. Instead of recognizing just being ourselves is part of the story of who we are.
It's such a good illustration for so many reasons. One, because of the fact that you're vulnerable enough to say, these are veneers. Yeah. Because most people will go and get some fake teeth and pretend like they're their real teeth and never even address it because they want to look perfect. It's the greatest illustration. But then, man, we spend our life trying to flex. And so we spend all of our money on new clothes and new shoes trying to flex. We spend all of our money on a new car trying to flex. We spend all of our time building a fake Instagram profile so that our church looks bigger than it is, instead of actually admitting what it is and trying to grow.
No, I've talked about it before that like there were seasons of my life when I was putting certain shoes and clothes on a credit card that was keeping me up at night that I couldn't pay my bill and pay it all off in a month, that I was carrying debt, but it was because I was trying to be somebody and wear something that wasn't even, and like what an absurd cycle that I put myself in of like, oh yeah, look at me, this is who I am. No, just be yourself. The funny thing is people actually like who you are, just yourself.
You know, the Bible says that your gift will make room for you. Your gift will make room for you.
Right.
And so if you can just find what you're good at and like what your gifting is and just run all the way in that and not be insecure about all the other things.
You think the fear people have in self-awareness is that they will identify so many things they don't like that they won't even be able to focus on the things that are good or the gifts that they do have?
Maybe. Like out of 100, maybe I'm out of 100 things, I'm only good at 20 of them and I'm horrible at 80 of them.
Right.
Okay. So I can either.
I wasn't saying right, like, you're bad at 80 things.
I'm saying I can either spend my life obsessing about what I'm not good at, or I can spend my life leaning into what I am good at and dominate.
Right.
And I think that too many people think about how, well, I'm not good at this, I'm not good at that, I'm never going to be able to accomplish this, instead of just leaning into the places that you're winning.
Right.
The whole reason we have to have a team is because the team is the thing that fixes what we're not good at.
Right.
The whole reason that Amanda, who's on our team, is so valuable is because she's the best at what I'm bad at.
Right.
Bailey is here in the room right now. I don't even know how this thing works. I don't even know what this does. I use it for Word and the internet.
Right.
But Bailey understands how Instagram and cameras and all these things work. And so her gift is the thing that makes the body whole.
Right. No, it's true.
So quit, man, if I could just get it into people, quit obsessing over what you aren't and start focusing on what you are.
Right. The good gifts that God's given you and being yourself. What's funny is you said your gift makes space for you. It makes a place for you. And what's funny is so often when we mask and we hide things, we're actually not just masking the things we don't like, we're masking the good and the gift.
Yeah.
And so we can't even fit into the space God has for us,
right?
Because we've hidden the gift, we've hidden the good. Like I, as a female, leader, like words like bossy and assertive, like those kind of things came over me in times that I started to get insecure of them.
Yeah.
But instead of recognizing, no, that's the gifts that God's given me. Let me mature those. Let me actually cultivate those. Let me not mask them and just be nice and sweet all the time.
Yeah.
That's what makes space for you. And so I think so often we cover things trying to hide the things we don't like, but we end up covering all of it. And that, man, it pulls us away from who we're meant to be.
And there's a bunch of things in life that force us to feel that way.
Absolutely.
So like I have talked on here before about how I was never like a great student in school. And so because that created some insecurity in me in some areas, it makes me think that I'm not as good as everybody else. But once you realize that like school is a non-realistic reality.
Right.
The world, adulthood, does not operate in classrooms with one boss
and 45-minute segments
and a bell that rings and big yellow vehicles that pick you up and drive. And so once you can get past like who I was there does not mean that this is who I am in life.
No.
And you can start to flourish into more.